Hi, welcome to this session on prelims preparation in 5 months. I am Mudit Jain. I am IRS of batch 2018. Before getting into IRS, I was probationer in Indian Police Service for a couple of batches, that is batch 2015 and 2016. So coming straight to the topic, we have exactly 151 days left for prelims 2020. 2020 prelims are scheduled for 31st May 2020. So that is 151 days, 5 months, or you can say approximately 22 weeks. So if you are a newbie, or even if you have worked, studied for a while, next 151 days are very important for you. So in this session we will discuss what to study in next 151 days from prelims point of view, how to study, how to revise, how many tests you need to solve, do you need to revise tests, which are the test series that you should join, how to examine yourself, that is how to go about test, either you should write full test or what. So these are the broad points that I'll try to cover in this session. So firstly, I'll talk about what to study. As you have only 5 months left, if you have just started, or even if you started say year back, what is needed for you to study is a concise book list. As I have also mentioned on my blog, that is Mudit Jain blog at WordPress, that you need to study a concise book list. For example, people say that you have to read all the NCERTs from say class 6th to 12th and study a number of books from coaching materials. But that is not true, because if you do so, you won't be able to revise the entire syllabus. If you are not able to revise, then there is no point sitting in the exam, because 9 out of 10 times you won't be able to clear it without revision. So the first important thing is you have to revise. For revision, your source material must be concise. So as I have mentioned in the prelims strategy A to Z on my blog, the concise material is for ancient and medieval. If you are not comfortable with the topic, then to try to read it, because it is very important. UPSC is increasing its focus on ancient and medieval in past few years. The questions are getting tricky day by day. So what I used to read was Lucent plus 30-page summary. Few years back, Chronicle came with a summary of 30 pages for ancient and medieval. That notes are uploaded on my blog. So, and third source for ancient medieval is Tamil Nadu book. Tamil Nadu board book is very important. It is tough, but then you have to read it for ancient medieval or culture, because it will help you in mains as well. So this is about ancient medieval. Second part is modern history. Now there are few books in the market for modern history like Spectrum or Bipin Chandra or Lucent GK. But the questions again are getting tricky day by day. So what I used to read for modern was a summary of book that I got on Google back in 2013. So from that summary I made my own notes of 78 pages. Those are also uploaded on my blog. So that those notes plus the tables that are mentioned in Spectrum book, along with that 40 odd pages from Lucent GK book. These three used to be my material for modern India. You can read Spectrum. If you are able to make notes out of Spectrum, then very good. Revise those notes, because it is a very good book. No doubt it is a good book, but then it is tough to revise from Spectrum. So the idea should be that you must be able to revise each and everything that you are reading. So that is about history. Coming to geography, it is really advisable to read NCERTs of class 9, 10th, 11th and 12th for geography. Apart from that, you have to do 𝗔 Leong. It is must, not only from the world geography point of view, but also from the point of view of maps. On my blog, I have analyzed the 59 different map questions that have been asked from 2013 to 2019, and many of them can be easily answered from 𝗔 Leong itself. So you have done ATLAS or not, you have read Oxford ATLAS or not, does not matter if you have read 𝗔𝘀𝘃𝗃 Leong thoroughly. Apart from that, Bajiram's yellow books are very good for geography. I read them back in 2013, 14 and 15. I'm not sure about the quality of the book right now, but then it was a good source back then. You can have a look at that as well. For mapping, as I've already told, 𝗔𝘃𝗃 Leong is important. Plus, keep an eye on the places in news. For example, Israel or Mediterranean region has been focused quite a lot in UPSC map questions of prelims. So you have to do that. Plus ATLAS, World ATLAS, that is Oxford. Read it very selectively. See the analysis on my blog of prelims map based question and read it accordingly. Lastly, for Indian maps, do book by Prem Patel. It is a very good book. If you are from geography optional, then it is a must read for you. So that is about geography. Next is economy. Now there are three subjects: economy, environment and polity. You have to read only one source for each of them. For environment, Shankar; for economy, Shriram book; and for polity, Lakshmikant. Need not digress from these three sources. These three sources are panacea as well as sufficient for the respective topics. There is no need to wander beyond these three books. I have been getting queries on Quora and Telegram channel, my Telegram channel 𝗘𝗅𝗺𝗺, that is Ramesh Singh a good source? Frankly, I haven't read the book, and Shriram book was enough for me to answer various questions of economy. Apart from Shriram for economy, you have to do current affairs and also read summary of budget and economic survey. Budget and economic surveys are not to be read cover to cover. I repeat, you do not have to read them cover to cover. Not for prelims, not for mains. All you have to do is read the summary so that you can use it in your answers for mains. Similarly, if you have thoroughly read current affairs for prelims, there is no need at all to read economic survey or budget separately from the prelims point of view. You would be able to answer the question. Shankar, as I said, for environment, it is must. Apart from Shankar, keep an eye on the list of tribes that are in news, because at times UPSC has asked questions related to tribes. As I already told, for geography, Prem Patel map book. So it has a list of wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, etc. Mountains, rivers. At times there is very thin line between the questions of geography or environment. The line is very thin. You cannot distinguish if it is a question of geography or environment. So these mixed questions can be answered very easily from Prem Patel map book. And lastly, polity. Polity you have to do from Lakshmikant only. You have to read the book cover to cover. Make notes out of it if possible. Your idea should be, if the book is 400 pages, reduce the book to 100 pages. Reduce the content to 1/4. This is going to help in revising the book multiple times, and also in mains, when say you have only half a day and you have to revise GS2. So you will be able to revise all the static portions out of your notes. Unfortunately, the notes that I made for polity, I lost them. Apart from polity, all my notes are uploaded on my blog. So we have discussed 5 topics, that is history, geography, polity, economy and environment. Next in line is science. So it is very tricky how to prepare science for prelims as well as mains. I would say that the cost benefit analysis of preparing science from prelims point of view is very less. At least in mains you can guess a couple of questions that can be asked from science, but guessing prelims science question is just impossible. So be very careful. What I used to read for science is only current affairs. Nothing from coaching material, no textbook, no NCERT, anything. Just focus on current affairs. Now I'll be coming on current affairs part. So from 2016, UPSC has been focusing too much on current affairs in prelims paper. For example, around 40 questions were asked from current, 40 out of 100 in 2016 exam. So you have to prepare current very well. Gone are those days when you needed to prepare only 1 year of current affair. You have to focus at least 15 to 18 months of current affair. You have to read at least 15 to 18 months of current affairs. Now, what are the sources of current affairs? See, people will tell you to read 𝗘𝗅𝗺𝗺, Yojana or India book, EPW, Science Reporter or PIB, etc. etc. But then if you read religiously 3 sources, you do not require to read the mentioned sources, the sources that I just mentioned. So those 3 sources are Hindu newspaper, Vision monthly current affairs, and Insights Secure compilation or Insights daily news. So if you are reading these 3 sources religiously, thoroughly, every single day of your preparation, you're not required to do any other source. Now this will help you in keeping your material concise. If you are focusing on concise material, making notes out of it, I guarantee that you will be able to cover at least 90 out of 100% of paper. There is no point of reading 10 other books for 10 questions. If you are reading India Year book, the book maybe it has 700-800 pages. If 10 questions come from 700 or 800 pages of so many words to remember, I don't think the cost benefit analysis is good enough to focus on that book. So focus on Hindu, Vision and Insights. Leave rest. Similarly, as I said for economic survey, you are not required to read economic survey as such. Read summaries available on coaching sites or just Google. You will get ample links of summaries of economic survey, etc. So this is what you need to read concise material for prelims. Now, how to read? So say if you are reading an NCERT for first time, do not mark anything as such in that book during the first reading. So in the first reading, just take the stock of what the book has. In your second reading, mark or underline the important lines and make notes out of it. Third reading shouldn't be of the book, third or fourth reading as you like, it should be of the notes and not the book. So just keep the book aside once you have made notes out of it. Trust me, note making helps a lot. It sets a strong foundation. It will help you in mains. Unfortunately, not everyone is able to clear CSE in their first attempt. So if you have notes, you do not need to start from scratch in your second attempt. I'll wish that you clear in the first attempt itself, but then you know the odds. So you have to make notes. Now, once you have made notes, I'll come to revision part. How you should divide the next 5 months that are available to you for preparation of prelims. Divide 5 months in 4 months plus 1 month, and that last 1 month into 20 and 10 days. In the first 4 months, read the concise book list or the sources that you are reading. The concise book list that I told you, or the source, whatever source that you are reading. Target should be that you are making notes as well, so that in last 1 month, in last 30 days, you revise all the notes that you have made at least twice. So in all, you are reading the material at least thrice. First in the 4 months, then twice in last month, in 20 days and then 10 days. So once you have revised the entire course material thrice, I guarantee that if the question asked was studied by you, you will be able to answer it correctly. If it is out of your notes, then it is a different matter. But then if it was in your notes, you won't do a blunder. You will be able to answer that question well. So this is the revision part. Last 1 month is very important for prelims point of view. More so, the last 10 days are more important. So keep the tough parts. Every aspirant has one or other weak area. For example, I used to face a lot of troubles in ancient medieval, and the list that are concerned with environment, the tables that are given in spectrum, the body's constitution like NCW or PAC, the constitution of those bodies. I had a lot of trouble in remembering those. So in the last 20 days or in last 10 days or last week, I used to revise them twice. So make note of your weak areas and focus more on them just before the exam, so that you are basically mugging it up. There is nothing much to understand in such factual things. So it is good that those factual things remain fresh in your memory just before the exam. Now coming on to how to go by test, how many tests you should attempt. See, you have 151 days, 5 months or 22 weeks. If you had started your preparation say 1 year ago, ideally I would advise that a aspirant preparing for 1 year should write 1 test per week. So this would mean at least 50 tests for him or her. Now that you have only 5 months left or 22 weeks, 20 tests won't be enough. I won't paint a rosy picture here. 20 tests are not enough. You need to do at least 30 or 40 tests. I cleared prelims in 2013, 14 and 15. I got IPS rank in 2014 and 15. But then in 2016 I flunked prelims by some 2 marks. In that attempt I didn't practice test enough. So even after getting IPS rank twice, I couldn't clear prelims itself. In the next attempt, that is 2017 attempt, that was my 5th and last attempt, I practiced 43 test papers. I studied like a first attempt aspirant would study. So that is the importance of test. You have to solve at least 40 tests. Solving a test is one thing. Solving the test after preparation is just another thing. Do not attempt a test just like that, just for the sake of it. Study the syllabus of the test and then only attempt the test. There is no point in attempting a test without reading for it. Even if you are able to get 150 out of 200, but if you have not read, you have not prepared and revised, I count that 150 as a failure. Because every day is not a Sunday. You won't be able to hit the bullseye in prelims if you haven't practiced enough, if you haven't studied hard. So you have to study and then only attempt test. Now attempting test also has various types, various methods. For example, what I used to do, I was preparing at home for my last attempt, that is CSE 17. I wasn't able to focus. I wasn't able to sit for 2 hours and solve the entire paper all at once. What I used to do, I used to solve 10 questions and then check the answer of those 10 questions. So that is one method, one way of doing it. There are people who tend to solve a question, turn to the solutions, solve another question, turn to solution. That is the wrong way. Do not do so. Do not solve one question and turn to the solution. Solve at least 10 questions at once, then look the solutions of those 10 questions, then go about 10 to 20, 20 to 30. And the best way, as you know, is to solve the test, full test all at once. That will give you the feel of an exam-like environment. That is very necessary. So even if you are solving test in the way that I used to do, solve 10 questions at a time, try to ensure that you are solving at least 10 tests in test-like environment. 10 tests at a stretch. That is that you sit for 2 hours and solve test all at once and then evaluate. Regarding test series, I found Insights test series very helpful. Those 43 tests that I just talked about, you can find them at Google. There is a site, exam.org. I do not know if it is functional now or not, but back in 2017 I found 43 test papers of Insights on that site. So I didn't have to join a test series as such. You really do not need to join test series for prelims anywhere. Just buy the test from market or Google, find them online, take a printout and then solve at your home. Trust me, there is nothing like checking your rank as such. Just you can have a small study circle, group of 4 or 5 like-minded friends who are solving the same test. Just compare your score with them. I frankly do not think that you need to check score from you need to evaluate yourself with 100 other people. 5 or 6 sample size is good enough. So you do not need to join test series, buy tests from market and solve them. So what we have discussed is what to study, how to study, importance of revision, which test series you need to join or not join, how many tests you have to do, how to solve test papers. Lastly, what matters is your confidence on that day. Do not read newspaper. One more thing that I forgot to mention, do not read newspaper for last 20 days. Prelims paper is most probably set by then. For example, if your prelims this year are on 31st of May, you can stop reading newspaper by 5th or 10th of May. There is no point stretching beyond that. So what matters on last day is to stay cool, stay confident about your preparation, hold your nerves. There are many others who might be overconfident or underconfident or nervous just like you. So you are not the first, you are not the last. What matters on that day is how well you have held your nerves. So this is all about prelims preparation of GS. Coming on to CSAT, I really do not have much to talk about CSAT because I was from engineering background. So personally, I never found it tough to handle CSAT. But then I have been getting queries regarding how to prepare for CSAT. So for CSAT, I would advise that look at the previous papers, that is the 7 papers that have been held from 2013 to 2019. Solve those papers and prepare accordingly. So there is no point reading, again, idea is same, read concise material if you want to read for CSAT. There is no point reading volumes of coaching material or different books for CSAT. First, see the previous or question papers, try to solve them, try to analyze where you stand, and then prepare from book that mentions like the questions like UPSC has asked. Do not prepare too much for CSAT. It is just a qualifying paper. I guess it is still the same, that is you have to score 33%. Scoring 33% in CSAT is not tough even for non-engineering students. So do not make it tough for yourself by overdoing CSAT. Just stay confident. So that is all that I wanted to say. This was a session on prelims. So we'll be having a session on mains answer writing as well, where I'll be discussing my strategies which helped me crack mains 4 out of 4 times with a margin of 120 to 130 marks above cutoff in coming weeks. Thank you.